for the desk, for instance, we've got Rusty and Ventrilomatic sitting behind it. And we went back and forth about, you know, almost having a two-level type of a desk so that, you know, one robot that sits shorter can be here and the taller robot could be here. But depending on how you put the camera in the shot, you may lose one or the other. So we just chose to have one flat desk that they both sit behind, and it's also less animation to do that when you don't have to see the legs of one of the characters. And Mr. Lunt is the techno-gourd of the future. So we wanted to give him, you know, his Lunt look, but give him something that made him look a little bit space age. So we've got, you know, he's got this little visor thing that goes on kind of like Star Trek.
Really enjoyed getting the Ventrilomatic and Rusty back in the show. Been working with Mike Sanderson, who's been doing the majority of that animation, and you know, just getting the right amount of, you know, stilted mechanical movement out of the Ventrilomatic, and then that sort of, you know, floppy vaudevillian kind of presentation that Rusty gives out. That you know, it's a nice contrast, and it really does require two different approaches when you're animating the two of those. Ventrilomatic is just kind of that B-movie invading alien robot that, you know, silence humans. Of course, there's a lot of a lot of effects and you know, digital things put on both of their voices, and then Rusty is just kind of that you know, Vegas announcer guy. All right, next up, blah blah blah, and I don't know. The opposition makes them both stand out pretty well, distinctly.
Ron Smith, who was actually the director of Penguins, has taken on all the Bob and Larry animation and has done just a fantastic job. He was a senior animator here before he was directing on Penguins. And so he's really having a great time getting back in there and animating as well.
I've been working mainly on the Bob and Larry characters, all the in-between stuff, which is a lot of fun because, you know, as usual, Bob gets all ticked off at Larry, who's trying to do something great, and kind of the wheels start to come off. But it all turns out nice in the end. The audio that Phil and Mike provide are the main guideline, and it directs itself. You know, it's very implicit what he's going through, and it's our job to just kind of capture that as best we can. It's kind of the hardest part to animate too, is when you don't have that audio dialogue to rely on for timing of motions, because you can gesture along with a character saying something pretty easily, but if he's just sitting there and fuming, and I just got done with a bit where Larry's trying to, you know, interrupt Bob, but he's, you know, doing that, not quite saying anything, and it's just trickier not having the audio to rely on with that. We do a lot of looking in the mirror at ourselves and practicing expressions, and, you know, playing the audio over and over again, and, you know, acting out different things, and usually you'll work on something through the day, and then you'll come back the next morning and look at it again with fresh eyes and find a lot of little things that you can improve upon. But that's kind of where the vicious circle starts, where you, oh, I can make this better. Oh no, I can make this better. Sometimes you just need to, you know, abandon it the way it is and move on. But yeah, it's a lot of fun just you know, planning out those little glances, and if they're not, you know, at the right time, you can kind of tell. You know, it's like, oh, he's reacting too early to something right here, or he would do that gesture a little more abruptly, and maybe even Larry flinches because he does that. So there's a lot of interaction between the two characters that's really important to get across. They're basically talking heads. They don't have their hands to wave around and gesture with. So yeah, the eyes, windows to the soul, and that's what we have to rely on is that expression.